Welcome back to JaiChai Stories, where every silhouette has a story, and every story is a lesson in survival. Codename: Ms. Sagwu, 100% Native American, Southern Iroquois tribe. Her ancestors were legendary warriors, the kind whose names are still spoken with reverence centuries later. Warriors who fought for their land, their people, their way of life. Names carved into history. But Ms. Sagwu's early life? It was not so glorious. Out of sight, out of mind. That's how most Native Americans lived on the reservations. A dilapidated shack on government land, miles from anywhere that mattered. No opportunities, no jobs, no future. Unless you were lucky enough to land a job at another tribe's casino, and that was rare. Unemployment was the norm. Drug abuse was the norm. Alcoholism was the norm. Invisibility was the norm. This was the world Ms. Sagwu was born into. A world where people had stopped running a long time ago. One day, a Navy recruiter visited the reservation. A muscular African-American man in a crisp uniform, carrying a promise of something different. Something better. Ms. Sagwu was one of only 2 people who bothered to speak with him. Everyone else walked past. Why waste time on promises no one keeps? But Ms. Sagwu stopped. She listened. She took the ASVAB, the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery. The test that determines whether you qualify for military service and what jobs you're capable of doing. Nearly perfect score. The recruiter was excited. She was excited. Finally, a way off the reservation. A way to do something worthwhile with her life. A way to honor those legendary warrior ancestors. This was it, her moment. But her parents were not thrilled. The white man's war, they called it. They refused to let their daughter go fight for a government that had forgotten them. A government that had forced their ancestors onto reservations and broken every promise it had ever made. And unfortunately for Ms. Sagwu, she was only 17 years old. She needed parental consent to enlist. So she waited, but not passively, not resentfully. She looked the recruiter in the eye and told him, "Keep my application on file. My 18th birthday is 10.5 months away. I'll enlist on my own after that." The recruiter nodded. He believed her. 10.5 months. 319 days. She'd wait, but she wouldn't waste the time. She'd always been athletic in school, but now she trained with purpose. Running before dawn. Push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups. Running at noon. More push-ups, more sit-ups, more pull-ups. Running after sunset. Every single day. 10.5 months of preparing her body for the moment no one could stop her. 319 days of building the endurance she'd need to prove everyone wrong. The rest is history. On her 18th birthday, she walked into that recruiting office. She signed her name on the enlistment papers. And she left the reservation behind. She graduated boot camp as the honor recruit. Not just graduated, the honor recruit, the top performer in her entire boot camp class. Out of dozens of recruits, she was number 1. Her parents had a change of heart when they heard the news. They came to watch her graduate. They stood there in the crowd and watched their daughter receive the honor. Turns out, excellence is hard to ignore, even when you don't want to see it. During her time in the Navy, Ms. Sagwu qualified for the U.S. Navy women's boxing team. She represented the United States of America at the Pan American Games. And she won the gold medal. Not in one weight class. In two gold medals, 2 weight classes. For a country that had forgotten her people, she won gold. Twice. Upon her honorable discharge from the Navy, the CIA came calling. They wanted her. Of course they did. She was smart. She was disciplined. She was relentless. Everything the CIA looks for in a field operative. She was on the fast track for promotion, climbing the ranks faster than most officers twice her age. And then a coworker sold her out to the Chinese government. Betrayed her for money, for favors, for reasons that didn't matter. The same government she'd served since she was 18 years old, the same government she'd won gold medals for, the same government she'd sworn an oath to, disavowed her. No rescue mission, no negotiation, no acknowledgement that she'd ever existed. They left her. But Raymond Cole didn't. When the government that Ms. Sagwu had served turned its back, Raymond Cole stepped forward. He hired private military contractors from the pool, his own people, operators he trusted, and launched a rescue operation. Ms. Sagwu was successfully extracted from Chinese custody and brought home. Upon her return to American soil, she made a decision. She left the CIA. Not because she was bitter, though she had every right to be. Not because she was broken, though captivity breaks most people. But because she finally understood the difference between a job and loyalty. The CIA was a job. The pool? That was loyalty. She joined the pool as a member of Raymond Cole's personal security detail. Elite bodyguards, combat survival instructors, covert operatives who operate in the shadows all around the world. All of them hidden under the guise of being ordinary executive secretaries. But Ms. Sagwu found something else at the pool. Something more important than a job or a title. She found a place where loyalty wasn't conditional. Where people didn't abandon you when things got difficult. During her downtime, Ms. Sagwu trains for triathlons. She's competed in Hawaii's Ironman competition for 8 of the last 10 years. For those who don't know, the Ironman is one of the most brutal endurance competitions in the world. 2.4 miles of ocean swimming. 112 miles of cycling through lava fields. And then, just to finish things off, a full 26.2-mile marathon. Ms. Sagwu has finished 8 times. Always placing in the top 10, open division. Always placing in the top 3, women's open division. The 2 years she didn't compete? 1 year, it was work, a pool operation that couldn't wait. The other year, it was an urgent family matter. The death of her father. Both times, she was the odds-on favorite to win the entire competition. But duty came first. Family came first. That's endurance too. There's a running joke among the other members of the pool. Ms. Sagwu can go forever on just a bowl of rice. It's not really a joke. It's respect. Recognition of what she is. Someone who can keep going when everyone else has stopped. Because endurance isn't about how fast you start. It's not about explosive power or instant results. It's about still being there when everyone else has quit. It's about crossing the finish line when everyone said you wouldn't even start the race. Ms. Sagwu was told she was invisible. She was told to wait her turn. She was told she couldn't do it. She was abandoned by the country she served. And she's still running, still fighting, still here. Subscribe now. Because the strongest stories aren't about the sprint. They're about the long run. May you and yours be well and loving life today. In Lakesh, JaiChai.